Hey, it's Nick here from Grayscale Gorilla. I am the Gorilla, and in this quick video, I wanted to talk to you guys about CINEWARE. It's part of the latest After Effects, and it allows you to quickly get 3D into After Effects. If you're not familiar with Cinema 4D, it allows you to connect the two applications together very easily and very quickly and do some really cool stuff. So if you're not familiar with it, I wanted to show you guys, as an After Effects user, what CINEWARE and Cinema 4D can do for you and your workflow and 3D in particular. So let's head on in After Effects. I'll show you guys how this stuff works. So we're in After Effects. We have our typical kind of scene set up with a camera and some 3D text. And I'm sure you guys have done this, and you rotating around your 3D stuff here, your fake 3D in After Effects, and you get to the edge and you go, well, crap, that's not real 3D, right? Well, you know, up till now, you'd have to buy some expensive plugins or try some other ways to do this or do some kind of hacks with this. But now you have 3D and a 3D application built into After Effects that you can open and get some real 3D inside of After Effects. So let me show you how to set this up. So you go up to File, New, Maxon Cinema 4D file. You open that up, and it's going to ask you to name it. So let's call this Text Demo 1, and it's going to open up Cinema 4D right here. This is it. This is Cinema 4D. Now, this is a light version of Cinema 4D. I'm going to show you what it does. And of course, there's more other versions of Cinema that have some more stuff you could do, but this is great. If you've never played with 3D and you always wanted to try it as an After Effects user, this is a great excuse to do it. So this won't be a full Cinema 4D tutorial. I have tons of Cinema 4D tutorials on my website if you want to learn more about it, but I wanted to show you quickly how to get a couple things set up and into After Effects with this new workflow. So one thing we could do specifically for text is just add some text and extrude it. So we have an extrude NURBS, and we could take that text and extrude it. We can also make it longer, and of course we can go in and change the font to something better and type whatever we want. Whatever. Right? So we have our 3D text, and we could save this, okay? So let's save it out, and let's go back to After Effects, and let me show you how fast this is to set up. You go to your Cinema 4D scene file that it built right into your project manager here, and just bring it into the scene, right? So let's turn off our kind of flat text there and look at our 3D text. And you can see it comes in kind of in a demo, what they call the software renderer. And what this allows you to do is rotate around it very quickly. So by default, it's going to come in with the same camera that you have set up in Cinema. So you can see we have our angle here. If we look down on our text like this, save it, and go into After Effects, it automatically updates. But what if you want to use your After Effects camera? Well, it allows you to do that as well. You can go into your project settings, and instead of using the Cinema 4D camera, you can go to Comp Camera. What that's going to do is use your regular kind of comp camera here. Let's turn on our text and actually zero our text out so we can see them both together. All right, and we just need to, I think, zoom out, 0. And we got our camera tools here that are built in After Effects. And now we can kind of move up and over, and we'll just turn off that text. We didn't need that. So now we have it. So now we have our camera in After Effects. You're able to rotate around and animate with real 3D text from Cinema 4D. So if we go to our project, if we go to our settings for our in CINEWARE, which is kind of what's managing this workflow, we can then set this to standard final render, and this is going to be our full render. Now, this is our default lighting and kind of default texturing from Cinema, but we have a lot of tools in here to make this look a lot better. So this is where it gets really powerful. Now we have access to all these texturing controls, so we could add a new material, dump it in. And again, I have tons of Cinema 4D tutorials on Grayscale Gorilla to show you more of this. And we're going to get more into this light version and what it does. But again, today we're going to make it really quick. We're going to make some white text here and maybe crank up the specular to get these nice little reflections. And then we're going to add some really simple lights. So let's add a light and turn this to ambient illumination. This is going to kind of be a global light. We could turn this down, make it kind of blue. This is kind of like a skylight, right? Then we could add another light and kind of move it up and over, and this is kind of like a sunlight. So we need some warmth here, and we need some shadow. So let's just make some soft shadows. Hit render, and now we're getting somewhere. Now we have some nice lighting. We have some nice little highlights here. Let's add a couple more things. Let's go to our extrude NURBS on our caps and add a fillet cap. This is going to give us these nice little bevels here, some real 3D text here we can do some fun stuff with. Okay, the last thing we're going to do is add ambient occlusion. So if we go into our render settings and we go to our effect ambient occlusion, we're going to turn on ambient occlusion, which gives us these nice shadows in between all of our letters. So now when we hit save and go back in After Effects, check out how much better that text looks. And it's all still available to animate and move around inside of After Effects. We're not stuck with a TIFF file or a 3D render that we have to pull in and just kind of deal with, or re-render if we want to make changes. We can actually make changes on the fly up until the final render using all this 3D stuff. So what else can we do? Well, if you're not familiar with Cinema 4D, they have a thing called MoGraph, which is their kind of package of motion graphics, let's call them plugins or modules that allow you to do some really fun stuff. Now, Cinema 4D Lite comes with a few of these. It doesn't come with all of them. Their other packages will come with their full list of MoGraph plugins. But here we have access to some of the fun ones. First of all, we need a fracture object. And we're going to use a fracture object to kind of fracture our text. So we have to tell the fracture object to explode segments and connect. And we're just going to remove the falling angle down a little bit. And again, we'll explain some of this stuff later. But what this fracture object allows us to do is go into our effector and go random and randomize that text. It moves it, right? And we have control over this. So now we can come in and say, well, I don't want you to go random left and right. I only want you to go random up and down. And let's say we also want it to rotate. So now we want our letters to kind of wiggle and move around. And that's great, but this doesn't animate, right? But with random, you can turn on animation very quickly. Going into your random mode, go to noise, turn on indexed, and hit play. Check that out. Now we have animated text from 3D that all we have to do is save, go back into After Effects, and it's ready to go. And if we do a little RAM preview, you can see it's rendering very quickly. We have true 3D text with real shadows, rendering very, very high quality, and we have our animated text. And in here, now we could do our kind of camera moves and the whole thing. And again, what's very powerful is we could change this at any moment. Anytime during your workflow, you're not stuck with anything, you can go back and do that. So again, if we want to add another line, whatever text time, you can add an entirely new line of text, hit save, come back, and now it's all ready to go. Very, very quick to render and very high quality. And you're using Cinema 4D, which is, you know, maybe I'm biased because I use it, but it seems to be kind of an industry standard for motion graphics and for incorporating into After Effects. And now that they're talking so closely together like this, very powerful. So anyway, I want to show you one more quick demo here. Here's another version of that text here, but with like a background. So again, this is just now a layer in After Effects that you can composite on top of. You could duplicate. You could do all the fun stuff that you would with a normal render. So let me show you one more demo. This is a tracked 3D scene. So we have our 3D camera tracker that comes with After Effects, track this scene, and if we open it up and turn on the camera tracker, you can see all of our little dots here, our tracking points are being found by the tracker. And we could set this scene up to add a 3D object, let's say, on top of this table. Let me show you how fast we could do that. We can go to File, New, Maxon C4D file, call this tracking demo 1, and we can add, let's say, not a cube, let's add something more fun. Let's add this figured guy here, and we can position him just level with the floor here, so we can move him up, make sure he's on the floor, because all the points in here coordinate with all the points inside of After Effects. So 0 here, this flat floor, is going to be where we tell it in the 3D tracker. So check this out. We bring that file in, tracking demo 1, we bring it into the scene, and here's our guy. Well, he's not actually sticking to the table. He's just kind of angled that way. We need to tell CINEWARE to use the comp camera and not the built-in cinema camera. So same thing, we go into camera, we can go to comp camera, and check it out. He's stuck now to the table. If we do a quick little render, you can see he's floating there. And in fact, let's go, instead of software mode, let's go to standard mode. And you can see now we do a quick render. It's going, and he's sticking right to that little tracking point on the piece of paper there, right? So pretty cool. And so there's one guy. But of course, because it's live, we could change this at any point. So we come back to Cinema and we say, okay, I don't want one guy. I want, let's say, a guy here and a guy here. So let's go into Cinema and let's duplicate him and move him up and over. And maybe there's another one that's like back and to the right here, or to the, yeah, that's the right. Let's go into After Effects and see what here. And there they are, 1, 2, 3 dudes, and they're all floating in their perspective. So this one will eventually kind of overlap this one, which is really cool. So let's let this play out, and you can see we have a true 3D track, and we're pulling these objects in. Now we don't have shadowing or anything like that yet, but that'll come in another tutorial. I just wanted to show you guys kind of how quickly we can get this going. In fact, I have a pre-set up scene that does have all this stuff ready to go with the shadows and with all the nice lighting and compositing. So here's a really great example of kind of a pushing this demo a little bit further. So now we have lighting, we have the 3D, and we have our full track. So if we move forward in the scene, you can see it's all tracked to the table. We have all these floating things around, and it's all composited. And this is where it gets powerful. When you're able to composite in After Effects and get almost your final scene done, but then still go back and make 3D changes, that's a big deal, right? So you can go back, even in this scene, into the original scene. So let's go to that. I think this is track 2. Yep. So here it is. And let's say we want to change the color. So we can go in here and change the color to something more like blue, let's say. And let's say we also want to change the text itself. So we can come in, go to the text, and say C4D. And there it is. Let's hit save. Go back to After Effects, and you can see it will update, it will render right in line, and then now it's blue and it says C4D, right? So this is very powerful. Right up to the last moment, we can make 3D changes without having to re-render our 3D, without having to re-import it into After Effects and worry about recompositing it or doing any of that. So very, very fun stuff. That is just a very, very quick demo of CINEWARE and this new workflow for 3D. The reason I wanted to talk to you guys that are After Effects users and are interested in 3D is because that was my path. I was originally very big into the 3D aspects of Cinema 4D or of After Effects, getting the cameras and getting the layers, but as soon as I saw Cinema 4D, I realized how much more you could do with a true 3D program. And now that you have it built in to After Effects, it's such a great opportunity to just try 3D, to try it out in your next project, or if you have some time when it comes out to try this. I think it's very fun, very powerful, and it's instantly inside of After Effects. Anyway, thanks for checking this out, and hope you guys come back. We'll have some more tutorials about this and about this workflow really soon, and I'll see you guys then. Bye, everybody.